Over the past 30 years, I have witnessed how the absence of the rule of law and threats to judicial independence can undermine democratic systems. And that is why I'm here today. These days, everyone hears the phrase rule of law, but few truly understand it. And yet a clear understanding of the rule of law is essential in order to grasp its growing vulnerability in many countries today, including ours. According to the ABA, the rule of law is a set of principles for ensuring an orderly and just society where no one is above the law, everyone is treated equally under the law, and everyone is held accountable to the same laws. There are clear and fair processes for enforcing laws. There is an independent judiciary, and human rights are guaranteed for all. In every country where I worked, the rule of law was susceptible to manipulation because of the absence of strong institutions and the absence of accountable leadership. Laws were applied unequally. Ordinary citizens were punished while powerful figures evaded prosecution in all of the countries I worked. The contrast was most stark in Afghanistan. The detention centers and prisons I regularly visited in my capacity overseeing U.S. assistance to criminal justice reform were overcrowded with individuals, poor individuals, detained or imprisoned for petty livestock theft, while government officials, tribal leaders, and warlords faced no consequences for embezzlement, for kickbacks, or for extortion. In most countries, police corruption, rather than the rule of law, was widespread. While on a short-term assignment in Serbia, I met Tanya, a young, idealistic shop owner, proud to have become an entrepreneur like Americans, she said, selling her own creative clothing. She had just been shaken down for protection money by thugs who promised to safeguard her shop from any foul play. Tanya refused to pay because she trusted the country's newly established commitment to the rule of law and that it would deter them. It did not. The next day, Tanya's shop was destroyed. This was a recurring pattern in many countries where the law exists more on paper than in practice. In Bulgaria, I avoided walking near black luxury sedans. In fact, I would cross the street immediately when I saw a black luxury sedan parked. I was fearful because such cars were commonly associated with perpetrators of financial fraud. Because law enforcement was so ineffective, drivers of these cars in several countries, Russia being another one, were frequent targets of retaliation. Victims did not turn to the courts. Instead, they took justice into their own hands, sometimes assassinating the driver with a card bomb. The rule of law was largely non-existent in these countries during the early 90s. What was worse? It's that the perpetrators of any type of criminal offense knew their chances of prosecution were slim. And even when offenders were prosecuted, the judiciary, meant to uphold the rule of law, was often compromised. Under communism, the separation of powers among the three branches of government did not exist, and the law was not supreme. Instead, power was concentrated in the Communist Party. Judges were accountable to the party, not to the law. Governance was determined by the arbitrary authority of the individuals, and the law was subject to their whim and caprice. And why I'm here today, ironically, is doing exactly what we American attorneys once advised citizens of former communist countries over the past 30 years to do. Engage with your communities, speak with local organizations, write opinion pieces explaining why the rule of law and an independent judiciary are essential to our democracy, especially in today's toxic political environment. Because our most fundamental rights, freedom of speech, freedom of assembly, freedom of the press, freedom of equal protection, due process, are safeguarded by the rule of law and an independent judiciary. Protecting the rule of law is an active, ongoing responsibility, not a passive expectation that we once assumed.